Welcome to No More Mondays, the podcast that helps you navigate career challenges through the wisdom of professionals who have been at the same crossroads. I'm your host, Angie Callan, and I welcome you to join me each week as I chat with leaders, entrepreneurs, and employees who are here to share practical, tactical advice and some inspiration on how they arrived at career satisfaction. From job searching and career changes to going out on your own, we're breaking down barriers and providing actionable takeaways to help you take charge of your Mondays and ditch the Sunday blues. Welcome to the No More Mondays movement. Hey everybody, welcome to No More Mondays. I'm your host, Angie Callan. Digital Nomad. There's a term that's come onto the scene and is more popular than ever now that we've moved into this completely remote world. And today you're going to learn exactly how to become one as we talk to Isabel Leong. Isabel is a fellow outdoor lover coming to us all the way from Costa Rica, where she is currently on a stop in her travels around the globe. And aren't we all jealous because it is spring and gray off season here in Colorado. And we're going to learn how she's prioritized her happiness by creating a lifestyle of freedom and fulfillment. We're going to find out exactly how she's done it and maybe pick up a digital marketing tip or two because that's what she does for a living. Isabel, welcome to No More Mondays.
Hi, Angie. Hi, everyone. Great to be here.
I am so excited to talk to you because you're young, you're traveling the globe, and you have just created a lifestyle that many of us look at and go, how did she do it? And we're going to get to find out. But I would love to kick things off by just getting to know a little bit more about you. So tell everybody a little about yourself.
Yeah, so I would call myself a full-time travel blogger. I've been blogging since 2015. Back then, it was just a hobby travel blog. I was still in school. Ever since then, I've just been slowly growing my traffic and growing my online profile. And I'm finally at this stage where I'm able to travel and work on the blog full-time while also doing some SEO coaching on the side.
So everybody out there that's ever said, Angie, I want to be a full-time blogger, and I've said you can't make money being a full-time blogger, Isabel just debunked the myth.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. I want to know about like life as a digital nomad because it's a very romantic idea that many, I think, aspire to. Few actually achieve it. But I would love to know about what it's like and, why do you love it and what have you learned through this experience?
Yeah. Oh, so many questions. What I really love about digital nomading is just the flexibility of time and location freedom where I take my time to get to know the place and the locals and the way of life better without having to rush from place to place. It allows me to enjoy the country better and while also making time to work at my own pace.
And I think that you bring up a good point that I really like to experience a place in a more immersive way. And a lot of times when we just travel for vacation, you're experiencing a little bit more of the tourism of a place instead of the reality of a place. And that's what this affords you an opportunity to do.
This whole journey has really been a great learning journey for me, not just in terms of discovering new places, but also in terms of like personal development. When you meet new people, your ideas are challenged or you are inspired by certain conversations. It's all a really diverse, dynamic journey.
And tell everybody, I want to know a little bit more about your background. So where are you originally from?
Yes, so I am from Singapore. I studied psychology and corporate communications in uni and went on to work in public relations and social media, both separate in two separate jobs. And then I was also freelance writing for a bit because I wanted to build my portfolio in writing for bigger publications while growing my blog.
Super cool. And where did the travel bug bite you? Where did this inspiration originate?
Yeah, it came when I was 21 and I had the opportunity to go to a country to do a semester abroad. And so I chose France. And that trip was my first solo trip outside of Asia. And, with a lot of excitement because I was going to be there for 6 months. I got my first DSLR camera. And I thought it was going to be my only pocket of time where I can live my life to the fullest before graduating from school and working for the rest of my life. So it's with that enthusiasm that I created the travel blog, because I wanted to document my travels and share my pictures, because I think back then there was an Instagram, and that's how my travel blog was born, and that's how, like, yeah, that's how my curiosity for the world really emerged from.
What is the travel blog? Because everybody out there is going, oh man, how do I go see this stuff? So we're gonna make sure we link this to the show notes and probably give you a couple opportunities to plug it. But what's your travel blog URL?
Yeah, it's bellaroundtheworld.com.
I love it. That visual as we're talking to you about all these amazing places that you've traveled. So how's Costa Rica been, as if we need to ask?
Yeah, it's been really tropical, warm as compared to the conventional winters. It's almost tropical all year round. It's actually entering the rainy season now, so it's really cool and moist. If you are in the jungle, which Costa Rica is famous for, you get to see all sorts of wildlife and flora and fauna. So you get the best of a little bit of everything, because you've got a lot of beaches as well, and that's where I like to spend sometimes a week or two at a time to just go surfing and bask in the sun. And other times in the forest. I was just in Monteverde last week, and we got to see really cool stuff. Like, I signed up for this night walk tour, and we got to see tarantulas, armadillos, all these little animals that you wouldn't see in your day-to-day life.
Oh, it's so cool. I don't know that I want to see a tarantula up close and personal, but in that environment, maybe I do.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting.
So, how did you get started and really take the leap into this lifestyle? I want to understand like the actions and steps you took to make it a reality while making a living.
Yeah, for me, I kind of started like way before this whole digital nomadism thing existed. For me, it was simple. I just simply wanted to travel more than the 14 days of annual leave that we are usually given in a corporate setting. And so I knew that my ticket to do that was to grow my travel blog. In the beginning, I didn't know what worked and what didn't. So I was on almost every social media platform trying to grow my traffic and my following. It was overwhelming, of course. It was like there was a lot, it was a steep learning curve. And it's over time that I started studying my metrics, seeing what worked, what didn't, what's the most time efficient way to grow your traffic. Like 7 years on, I've now been able to streamline and hone in on the process. So the blog pretty much runs on autopilot because I already know the whole process for developing a new content strategy, and then promoting it, and then waiting to grow traffic with each new content that I put out.
Well, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what you've learned there, because I feel like there's some entrepreneurs out there listening who are like, ooh, how do I actually do this? But before we go there, here's a word from this episode's sponsor. This episode of No More Mondays is brought to you by Athletic Greens. As many of you know, I live a very active lifestyle here in the Colorado Rockies, and I'm also gluten-free. So I started taking AG1 because I wanted a quick and easy way to support my gut health and my immunity. I also love a good routine, and AG1 makes it easy to get my daily dose of vitamins. I just pop a scoop in a blender bottle, shake it up, and I get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and superfoods during my 22-minute drive to CrossFit. The bonus? Not only do I feel great during my early morning workout, I sleep better and I have more mental clarity, all without breaking the bank because this is just $3 a day. As a climate neutral certified company, I can also feel good about that $3 going somewhere meaningful. We're partnering with Athletic Greens to make it easy for you to stock up. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/emerging to take ownership of your health and pick the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Isabel and I are back, and we are going to dive into some of the challenges that she has faced as she has built her career and life as a digital nomad. I'm curious about some of the challenges that you've run into. You've been doing this for a while. You were a digital nomad before the pandemic, and I'm sure that was a challenge, but what are some of the things that you don't think about that challenge this kind of lifestyle?
Couple of things. Like, first thing is having to deal with visas whenever you want to enter a new country. That can be tricky depending on what passport you have. I'm very lucky to call Singapore my home, and with a Singapore passport, we've got one of the strongest passports in the world. Sometimes I take it for granted, like yeah, like in Bolivia, I had to get a visa, which I thought I didn't, so that was a little bit of complication. But then, yeah, I got through that. And I guess another thing is the trouble with having to go through logistics over and over again each time you move, like having to look at housing, having to look at, where are the best places to go look for groceries. So you sometimes have to repeat this process over and over again, which can be kind of tiring to some because sometimes you just want a base where you can just settle in and for a couple months or a year at least and not have to worry about all these little logistics.
Yeah, do you have a home base?
I would say Singapore is my home base, although I haven't been home for almost 1.5 years.
Oh, that was
So
my
I've
next
just,
question is how long has it
yeah,
been since you were there?
yeah, October 2020. I was stuck there during the pandemic. It was 8 months long, which was too long in my opinion because I was used to moving around
Yeah.
all the time. So then I just bought that one way ticket and flew into Seattle, and I've been on the road since.
Man, you can't stop this girl. So let's talk a little bit about this work that you do to support this lifestyle. And like I said, there's very curious digital marketing, as you mentioned, is a very, very interesting network of rabbit holes that you can end up down. So let's use a little of your expertise in this land.
Yeah.
I want to steal a tip or two. So, what are some of your kind of top tips for growing that online presence?
Yeah, and I'm seeing the need to grow that online presence more and more, especially after the pandemic. Um, like, for instance, I was in Mexico and I met up with this tour operator who was struggling with his business because no one was visiting his physical store anymore. And so he enlisted my help to grow his online presence. And so I would really say to look at where to look at first where your target audience or your ideal audience is coming from and what sort of platforms they're consuming the information from. So for example, if they are traveling, if you are targeting travelers, for example, they are usually people who would Google stuff. They like to research a destination before going. And so then they are existing on the Google sphere. And you want to be in that platform as well. And so what I like to do, which is called SEO, search engine optimization, is then optimizing your website or your content to rank at the top of Google whenever people are searching for the specific keywords that you're trying to target. So in my client's case, it was like best tours in Oaxaca, Mexico. And he wanted to be right on top of Google search when people are searching that so that his company is brought aware to all these potential travelers who might be looking for tours to do around Oaxaca.
I could get into a marketing conversation for like 3 hours because this stuff is so interesting to me. But I think I'll distill that down to something I tell clients when I'm helping, budding entrepreneurs or people transitioning from employment to entrepreneurship kind of start and conceptualize their businesses. You have to really think about that niche you're serving and then what language they use, what their pain points are, and where they hang out. And so, what you're talking about, Isabel, is so spot on that in the digital landscape, you can define all those same things. So, what are their pain points? What keywords would they be putting into Google to figure out how to find a solution to that pain point? And then, what channels are they hanging out with? Because a 20-year-old is hanging out on TikTok, while the old fogies like me are like, why is there TikTok? We still have Facebook. So, it's a really, really good point of figuring out how to tailor your experiences to the people you want to reach and then figuring out exactly where they are so that you're not diluting your efforts across just a big general plan.
Yeah, yeah, you put it exactly right.
And I know you have an SEO freebie on your website. So tell us where we can find that. Plug number 2 for Isabel's site, everybody. Hey, if I have somebody who's willing to come and share their knowledge on a podcast, we're going to help and support you as many ways as we can. So there's an SEO freebie on the website that we'll link to on the show notes. But tell us where everybody can grab that.
Yeah, so it's on bellaroundtheworld.com/sign-up-SEO. It basically is a free video training showing you 7 lesser known tactics on SEO and how you can, if you already have some content on your website, how you can really optimize it and increase your chances of ranking on Google.
And if Meredith hasn't already downloaded it, I'm going to go do it because I feel like SEO is the never-ending plight of anybody trying to be found online. So I'll take whatever free tips I can get.
Totally.
And we like to give our guests as much advice and practical recommendations as possible. So we're going to get a few more little tidbits out of you, Isabel.
Bring it on.
All right, cool. Because we're going to play a little game I like to call rapid fire recommendations. It's not usually very fast, but we're going to try. You ready?
Yeah.
This is just a fitting question for you, even though I ask everybody. Most memorable travel destination?
Ooh, I would say it has to be New Zealand because it is the first country that I've lived the longest at. I was actually doing a working holiday there. That was actually also the turning point where I turned my blogging full-time because I was like pivoting between whether I should go back to a full-time job or giving my blog a shot.
I love it. And you know what we've realized about the memorable travel destination? It's rarely New Zealand because it's just the most beautiful, crazy place I've ever been. And it's usually because it's tied to some sort of like emotional true memory, like it being the first place that you really were when you shifted into this lifestyle and into the blogging full time. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to hear your recommendation for a great book our readers can pick up.
I mean, if you don't already know, it's going to be The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss because it really is all-encompassing, especially if you're trying to get out of that job that you hate and embrace the lifestyle freedom, which some of us are already living. And so that book is really very helpful. It gives actionable step-by-step plan to help you get there.
And I'll be honest, I've had an issue with that book more because of the title. Because it's like, you can't really, 4-Hour Work Week sets up unrealistic expectations of what work could be, but it's more symbolic about the fact that you don't have to have a 9-to-5 and that you can design your work, your way of working and living to fit you versus having to fit that corporate time clock mold.
Yeah, and one concept that Tim really wrote about was how you are living mini retirements instead of the conventional work for the rest of your life and then retire. So that's illustrated where you are working really hard and really focused for maybe a month or 3 months at a time, and then you take a week or a month off entirely to just do whatever you want, whether it's learning karate or just vacationing in Mexico. And then after you've played hard, you go back to working again. And so I guess it's more sustainable in a way where you're not wasting your youth away just slugging your life at a job that you don't really enjoy, and just making time to really grow and flourish while doing what you love.
Exactly, because the traditional model is basically I'll play when I'm dead. So pick it up. It's definitely a good suggestion. Give us your favorite movie.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Oh,
Which one do you pick?
It's not a movie, but the latest obsession that I was on Netflix was Selling Sunset. Where there's a bunch of real estate girls with their drama and all these fancy looking houses in LA worth multi-million dollars. So it's been fun to binge on that. Like, it's a super no-brainer, but very lighthearted show to watch.
Well, and for your lifestyle, you almost have to laugh at the fact that you're like, look at all of this, and then I'm just running around with my laptop.
Yeah.
And I would love to know a podcast recommendation from you.
Smart Passive Income has really actionable tips on helping anyone who is interested to grow their income passively, of course, and just different income ideas as well as digital marketing tips that you can glean from Pat Flynn.
Awesome. That's a new recommendation, and I think that actually might be my library, but it's one of those ones I don't ever tune into, and now you're going to make me go listen to an episode or two.
Do it. Yeah, it's going to be life-changing.
Okay, cool. And of course, this is a show about Mondays, so what's the first word that comes to mind when I say Monday?
Funny to say this, but I would say energetic, because I get super excited receiving emails as compared to, I think, regular people, because that's where all my opportunities come in from.
Oh, I love it. So after a weekend of visiting and hanging out with whatever place you're in, you sit down on Mondays and you're energized because you open your computer, you open your email, and you're looking at what opportunities are sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, I also have to say that I don't really have a distinction on weekends and weekdays. I'm pretty flexible in the way I work and travel, so it doesn't really matter if it's a weekend or not. If I want to go travel, I go travel.
You just go do it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that we're pushing against that very structured norm that here in America we're very, very, very like black and white around, and just in general that there's a shift happening. And so I really hope our conversation has inspired you out there to just think about how you could restructure your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be as drastic as I'm going to just hang it all up and go travel for a year and a half, but how can you restructure things just a little bit to feel a little bit more free and a little bit more fulfilling? Because Isabel's an inspiration here. And as we wrap things up, I want to give you, Isabel, give us one more give us one more way. Like, how do we find you? Remind everybody where they tune into you, because I know you've given us your website, but I'm pretty sure we can follow along with you on social too. So let everybody know how they can follow your globe-trotting adventures.
Yeah, if you go to my website, you can find all of my social media links. I'm really active on Instagram. I usually post my day-to-day life on Insta Story, and I'm also trying to grow my vlog, my YouTube videos. So with travel vlogs, like having a day in a life in a certain town, having a day in life at the beach, and so yeah, feel free to follow along those channels.
Yeah, and if that isn't going to make you go book a plane ticket, I don't know what will. So, Isabel, this has been so awesome. And there's a lot of like cool little tidbits in here. And I would love for you to just give us one more. So, what's your best piece of advice on what our listeners can do to get one step closer to that more fulfilling life of freedom?
Yeah, I would say I know a lot of people like they are stuck at their status quo. Everyone's comfortable living within their comfort zone. And although sometimes people want to make a change, they don't really know how to. So, one advice I like to give is really to surround yourself with people or role models that you like to aspire to become. Like, if you wanted to become a digital nomad, I would suggest like hanging out in Facebook groups and talking to people who are already living their lifestyle to really convince you and try and wrap your head around what and how it's possible to do that.
What is that? What is that? I don't know if it's a saying or if it's actually a statistic that you are a combination of the five people you spend the most time with, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So go spend some time with the people you want to be like, folks. That's a great piece of advice. As Isabel and I wrap up what is an awesome conversation, where are you going next to let everybody know?
Whoa, I think I am heading to Panama for a few days, and then I'm looking at spending a few months in Guatemala, a country that I haven't been before. So I'm pretty excited to check out.
Oh, by the way, how many countries have you been to?
Ooh, I've been to over 40, maybe 45 since the last year. Yeah.
Maybe I'll go to Panama and hop over to Guam this weekend too, Isabel. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what we can do when you embrace a digital nomad lifestyle? This has been super fun.
Yeah, the world is your oyster.
Exactly. Go find your pearl.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved this so much. Isabel, thank you for being part of our show and championing the No More Mondays movement, because you are an excellent example of what it looks like to successfully navigate a career and figure out a path to success and fulfillment in your life and professionally. So there's some awesome advice here. I hope you all took some notes. I hope you will go visit the links in the show notes to see all the awesome resources Isabel is providing people who want to understand digital nomad life, but more importantly, those very practical tools she's given out to help you grow your online presence. And for all of you out there listening, thank you so much for being part of our community. I would love for you to subscribe to No More Mondays and leave us a 5-star rating, because we are awesome and because it's a huge help as we continue to inspire confident professionals with awesome stories like Isabel's. If you'd like to leave us comments, feedback, guest suggestions, or again, pick up those show notes, please visit us online at nomoremondays.info. Thanks for joining us for another episode of No More Mondays. Tune in next week as we bring you more insights and actions to help you improve your professional life and find career satisfaction. Don't forget, visit us online at nomoremondays.info for all the details, show notes, and recommendations from this episode. No More Mondays, we drop new episodes every Wednesday. No More Mondays is brought to you by Career Benders, Inc. in partnership with executive producer Jane Durkee. For more information about career coaching, resume writing, personal branding, recruiting, and entrepreneurship coaching services, visit our website at careerbenders.com.